The Sixth Insight, Clearing the Past. The Sixth Insight introduces us to the concept of the control dramas.
You have 4 control dramas: the Intimidator, the Interrogator, the Poor Me, and the Aloof.
The control dramas are broken down into 4 basic control dramas. They are the Intimidator, the Interrogator, the Poor Me, and the Aloof. Control dramas are used as a form of manipulation to take energy from others. Everyone manipulates for energy, either aggressively, that is, directly forcing people to pay attention to them, or passively, playing on people's sympathy or curiosity to gain attention. The aggressive approaches to gaining energy is the intimidation or the interrogation. The passive is the poor me and the aloof. Let's examine the control drama known as Aloof. The main character of the Celestine prophecy identifies his control drama as Aloof. The Aloof drama was described as: the way you get energy coming your way is to create this drama in which you withdraw and look mysterious and secretive. You tell yourself that you're being cautious, but what you're really doing is hoping someone will be pulled into this drama and will try to figure out what's going on with you. When someone does, you remain vague, forcing them to struggle and dig and try to discern your true feelings. As they do so, they give you their full attention, and that sends their energy to you. The longer you can keep them interested and mystified, the more energy you receive. Unfortunately, when you play aloof, your life tends to evolve very slowly because you are repeating this same scene over and over again. If aloof people would open up, their life movie will begin to take off in new and meaningful directions.
Aloof people kind of play hard to get. They draw you in, and you have to keep asking them questions to pull more information out. But when you play aloof, some people might not want to participate with that, and thus you miss out on experiences and information that you could have gotten had you just opened up.
Control drama, the Interrogator. People who use this means of gaining energy set up a drama of asking questions and probing into another person's world with the specific purpose of finding something wrong. Once they do, then they criticize this aspect of the other's life. If this strategy succeeds, then the person being criticized is pulled into the drama. They suddenly find themselves becoming self-conscious around the interrogator and paying attention to what the interrogator is doing and thinking about, so as not to do something wrong that the interrogator would notice. This psychic deference gives the interrogator the energy he desires. In a social dynamic outside of Celestine prophecy teachings, being the interrogator demonstrates that you are in control of the conversation. You're doing the asking. Even more interesting is that some people who are aware of the interrogator control methods get offended when you ask them questions, and they feel that you are being condescending to them for daring to ask an interrogative question, for they should never have to answer questions. Control drama, the Intimidator. If someone threatens you, either verbally or physically, then you are forced, for fear of something bad happening to you, to pay attention to him, and so to give him energy. The person threatening you would be pulling you into the most aggressive kind of drama, what the Sixth Insight calls the Intimidator.
The Intimidator control drama is pretty obvious. Everyone's experienced it before.
Control drama, the poor me. If someone tells you all of the horrible things that are already happening to them implying perhaps that you are responsible and that if you refuse to help, these horrible things are going to continue, then this person is seeking to control at the most passive level with what the manuscript calls a poor me drama. Haven't you ever been around someone who makes you feel guilty when you're in their presence, even though you know there is no reason to feel this way? Everything they say and do puts you in a place where you have to defend against the idea that you're not doing enough for this person. That's why you feel guilty just being around them.
How many examples of the poor me drama can you think of that occur in society? In fact, this week, were you pulled into a poor me control drama? Did you pull someone else into a poor me control drama?
Discover and understand your own drama before you proceed. Similar to the second insight, we need to understand the origins of our behavior. Nothing can proceed until we really look at ourselves and discover what we are doing to manipulate for energy. Each of us must go back into our past, back into our early family life, and see how this habit was formed. Seeing its inception keeps our way of controlling in consciousness. Remember, most of our family members were operating in a drama themselves, trying to pull energy out of us as children. This is why we had to form a control drama in the first place. We had to have a strategy to win energy back. It is always in relation to our family members that we develop our particular dramas. However, once we recognize the energy dynamics in our families, we can go past these control strategies and see what was really happening. Each person must reinterpret his family experience from an evolutionary point of view, from a spiritual point of view, and discover who he really is. Once we do that, our control drama falls away and our lives take off. How to begin understanding the origin of your control drama. First, understand how your drama was formed. Describe your mother. Describe your father. Anyone's drama can be examined according to where it falls on the spectrum from aggressive to passive. Some people use more than one in different circumstances, but most of us have one dominant control drama that we tend to repeat, depending on which one worked well on the members of our early family. If a person is subtle in their aggression, finding fault, and slowly undermining your world in order to get your energy, then this person would be an interrogator. Less passive than the poor me would be your aloofness drama. So the order of dramas goes this way: Intimidator, Interrogator, Aloof, and poor me. How the aloof drama is created. Note, this is only the example they used in the book. There are other ways the aloof control drama could be formed. Aloof drama is usually the result of abuse from the interrogator. The interrogator parent criticizes, asks questions, then finds something wrong with the answers. This causes energy to become drained, and so the victim tries to keep from revealing any information. The victim becomes vague and distant, trying to say things in a way that would get his attention, but not reveal enough to give him something to criticize. The aloof dodges the questions and interactions. How the poor me is created. The intimidator creates the poor me, or when the poor me doesn't work, the intimidator creates another intimidator. If you are a child and someone is draining your energy by threatening you with bodily harm, then being aloof doesn't work. You can't get them to give you energy by playing coy. They don't give a damn what's going on inside of you. They're coming on too strong. So you're forced to become more passive and to try the poor me approach, appealing to the mercy of the person, guilt-tripping them about the harm they are doing. If this doesn't work, then, as a child, you endure until you are big enough to explode against the violence and fight aggression with aggression. A person goes to whatever extreme necessary to get attention energy in their family, And after that, this strategy becomes their dominant way of controlling to get energy from everyone. The drama they constantly repeat. How the interrogator is developed. Aloof people create interrogators, and interrogators make people aloof. What would you do if you were a child and your family members were either not there or ignored you because they were preoccupied with their careers or something? Playing aloof would not get their attention. They wouldn't notice. Wouldn't you have to resort to probing and prying and finally finding something wrong in these aloof people in order to force attention and energy? This is what an interrogator does. The goal is to become aware of your own control drama. There is a tendency to see these dramas in others, but to think that we ourselves are free from such devices. Each of us must transcend this illusion before we can go on. Almost all of us tend to be stuck, at least some of the time, in a drama, and we have to step back and look at ourselves long enough to discover what it is.
We need to understand the origin of our behavior if we are to overcome and conquer our control dramas. Once we overcome these control dramas, then the magic of life begins to happen.
Once we see our drama, what happens next? We are truly free to become more than the unconscious act that we play. As I said before, we can find a higher meaning for our lives, a spiritual reason we were born into our particular families. We can begin to get clear about who we really are. The process of finding your true spiritual identity involves looking at your whole life as one long story, trying to find a higher meaning. Begin by asking yourself this question: why was I born to this particular family? What might have been the purpose for that?
Once you learn about the dramas, at the beginning, it's a good idea to observe them in others. But make sure you also point the finger at yourself. Because if you're only pointing at others, you're only getting half of the insight. The other half is to look inward, to self-psychoanalyze yourself and understand the origins of your behavior.
We are not only the physical creation of our parents, we are also the spiritual creation of them. You were born to these two people, and their lives had an irrevocable effect on who you are. To discover your real self, you must admit the reality you began was in a position between their truths. That's why you were born there, to take a higher perspective on what they stood for. Your path is about discovering a truth that is a higher synthesis of what these two people believed. How does one live a life that is both? Your life is somehow combining the two approaches.
It's suggesting that you are the product of your mother and father's worldview, blended together into one. Ideologically and philosophically, you've experienced both of their personalities and both of their control dramas, both of their ways of life. And their interactions with you have shaped, more than any other two people in the world, your parents shape your behavior and craft this new ideology that is based on the two of them, and they may be polar opposites in some instances, or they may be both the same, but you are the synthesis of those two, how those two blend together, and the output, the outcome of those two worldviews.
Joining East and West. Western philosophy champions the idea of working for progress and perfection. Eastern philosophy holds that life is about reaching an inner enlightenment, a higher consciousness marked by peace of mind and detachment from the things of this world. Life was not about perfection. It was about letting go of the need to perfect anything, to go anywhere. The West is correct in maintaining that life is about progress, about evolving towards something higher. Yet the East is also correct in emphasizing that we must let go of control with the ego. We can't progress by using logic alone. We have to attain a fuller consciousness, an inner connection with God, because only then can our evolution towards something better be guided by a higher part of ourselves. When you discover the insights, your whole life will begin to flow, and it's usually in embracing the dualities and bringing out the best in both and synthesizing it all. Your next step. Look closely at all the other things that have happened to you since birth. If you view your life as one story from birth to right now, you'll be able to see how you have been working on this question all along. You'll be able to see how you came to be here and what you should do next.
See your life as a quest, as an adventure, as a grand story. All the events were not coincidences. They were all synchronistic. Synchronistic events that lead you to the next moment in your life. When you begin to see your life as a series of synchronistic events, the adventure that opens up to you is so fantastic, because you will see yourself as the star of your own movie.
Bridging the first insight with the sixth. Try to perceive the sequence of interests, important friends, coincidences that have occurred in your life. Weren't they all leading you somewhere? How did you spend your time as you grew up? What did you read? What happened in your life after that? And after you grew up, what happened? What did you study at college? Why? When you went to work, what happened there? Did you enjoy it? And then what? And? What do you think of your experience here? What do you think of the way your experience has progressed?
The sixth insight is primarily about the control dramas. But when you understand the control dramas, it helps support the first insight, because the control dramas are your behavior shaping up to this point, which indicates that all the events that shaped your behavior were significant in shaping your behavior. And so by identifying that, it helps create this idea that every moment is the story unfolding. Everything in your life happened for a reason. And so now we're shedding the bad baggage, because you gain that baggage as a means of survival to get to the point you're at now. But to ascend to that next level, you got to shed your control dramas, open up to the universe, and then ascend forward. But the insight from the sixth insight is building upon the first, and that is that there are no coincidences, and everything is a significant synchronistic event in your life. Every moment is a story unfolding, and you are the lead actor. When you begin to understand that, the world opens.
Life is a series of interconnected coincidences which we call synchronistic events. Aren't you amazed at the series of coincidences that brought you face to face with the different experiences just when you needed them? When you're able to realize this, it means you are ready. You are like the rest of us here. You came to the point where you needed the manuscript in order to continue your life evolution. Think about how the events of your life fit together. Your early interest led you on your path to the next step. Why did you have particular teachers? Why did you read particular books? As you can understand now, it has taken the insights to clear up what was missing in your technique. In order for people to evolve, they have to do what we all have to do, and that is to get connected with enough energy to see through their intense control drama, what we call acting out, and go forward in what turns out to be a spiritual process, a process you have been trying to understand all along. See the higher perspective on these events. All the interests that led you forward in your past, all these stages of growth, were just preparing you to be here, now, exploring these insights. You have been working on your evolutionary search for a self-enhancing spirituality throughout your entire life. Your whole life has been a long road leading directly to this moment, and every moment that passes after. When you fully integrate this view of your life, you will have achieved what the manuscript calls a clear awareness of your spiritual path. According to the manuscript, we all must spend as much time as necessary going through this process of clearing your past. Most of us have a control drama we have to transcend, but once we do, we can comprehend the higher meaning for why we were born to our particular parents, and what all the twists and turns of our lives were preparing us to do. We all have a spiritual purpose, a mission, that we have been pursuing without being fully aware of it, and once we bring it completely into consciousness, our lives can take off. Once you've discovered this purpose, you must go forward, allowing the coincidences to lead you into a clearer and clearer idea of how to pursue this mission from this point on, and what else you must do here. As you've been watching these videos, you've been riding along on the energy of these teachings, but now it's time to learn to evolve by yourself, consciously. In closing with the sixth insight, before we could fully enter the special state of mind that so many people were glimpsing, the experience of ourselves moving onward in a life guided by mysterious coincidences, we had to wake up to who we really were. Do you understand that you are on your path of discovery here? Now you must really believe it. You must understand what is at stake. The truth you are pursuing is as important as the evolution of the universe itself, for it enables evolution to continue. Humans are born into their historical situations and find something to stand for. They form a union with another human being who also has found some purpose. The children born to this union then reconcile these two positions by pursuing a higher synthesis guided by the coincidences. As you learned in the fifth insight, each time we fill up with energy and a coincidence occurs to lead us forward in our lives, we institute this level of energy in ourselves, and so we can exist at a higher vibration. Our children take our level of vibration and raise it even higher. This is how we, as humans, continue evolution. The difference now with this generation is that we are ready to do it consciously and to accelerate the process. No matter how afraid you become, you now have no choice. Once you learn what life is about, there is no way to erase that knowledge. If you try to do something else with your life, you will always sense that you are missing something. Thank you for listening to this video about the sixth insight.